I was wrong in doing what I did.
No, no! No! Are you listening?
Sean here. Let's see if I can get through this without deleting it when I'm done. That's pretty much what I've been doing. I've made a bunch of videos. I don't know if it's because I'm going through some sort of depression where you just don't feel like doing anything, and anything you do, it's just not good enough. I think that might be it. So no matter how this turns out, I'll put it out there. I have another 22 pages of research I did, official research. It's finished. I've just got to find the time to do it. It's a theory I think me and a few others have been kicking around, and now I think it's become kind of a popular theory, not because of me, but because other people are more active than I am. It was something we talked about in the chat a long time, in a chat log, a long time ago, and I want to explore it. I had to talk to one of my medical friends. I just didn't want to be the only source of information, because then it becomes just me. I wanted somebody else's input, so I will get that out. Today, we're going to talk about the source of a lot of Lorne's current problems. Now, I know he has a lot of problems, but the main one, and I think this stands out the most whenever I listen to him, this catfish saga has been one continuous relationship in his head, with the exception of a few breaks. When I was in middle school, I think you were the same. You would date, quote unquote, somebody, and then move on to the next. Maybe their friend, and then their friend, and then... Because girlfriends were just saying I had a girlfriend, talking to them at recess, maybe talking to them at a class, going and hanging out with them after school. I don't know what you did. But moving on. Lorne, he can't separate these catfish women because he believes he's entitled to whoever's next. If you want proof, look at the Debbie saga. Look how crazy he went when he thought he wasn't going to have a catfish on the line. How absolutely psycho. How he thought he was entitled. The whole, I thought I'd give Debbie a chance. So this crap you're pulling tonight for, yeah. That entire saga where he's going crazy. That whole thing with Casey. He goes crazy because he desperately wants the next woman to talk to him. Because he feels entitled. Well, you'll be working on something. He wants it so badly. All he can focus on is making sure that he gets that next conquest. He calls the Ramona saga, for God's sake. Emma was the only safe one, I guess. Except for the time when Lorne went, I'm going to call Emma. I'm going to get laid. Come on, man. Who says that? And that was his best relationship, was winning. He can't handle the thought of not having a woman on the phone, an outlet, somebody to talk to in a way that no one else is going to tolerate. And maybe, just maybe, for those of you who think it's willful ignorance, that may be why he talks to them, because he knows they're not going to leave. He can be as dramatic as he wants, and it's going to continue. I loved when he broke up with him, when he was like this, yeah, I know, I just want, and he was so pathetic and trying to make her feel bad. This is middle school stuff. You walk around, I wanted to see how sad I am, or you make sure you make a scene in the middle, throw something, and oh man, she's gonna go, oh man, he's really angry, that's hot. Does it really surprise anyone that he thinks these catfish are real because he's never had a real relationship? Because he wouldn't have any idea what a real relationship is? And that you can't date somebody over the phone? Come on, Lorne. Come on, man. There's no break. So, all of that baggage, for example, in your life, when I was younger, I didn't have much trouble, finding somebody to date. But as you get older, your guard comes up. You are a family man, or your profession demands that you stay focused, you stay professional, you have goals, and you're not willing to risk it for somebody else. Occasionally you are, but if you've landed a good job and you need to be focused and you need to work on your emotions because it's stressful, the best manager I ever had, he was a director, and even the lowest of peons, he would go and talk to them. He told me when he hired me, you're either going to be coal or a diamond, because I'm going to put a lot of pressure on you. Thank God I became a diamond. Thank God. You meet a lot of people when you become a diamond. The governor, everyone else, you start to have relationships. When you're coal, you don't. Lorne's been coal all of his life. He's never had any kind of job where he has to focus on it. That's why it's so easy for him to just put it off. Because this job is not a difficult job. I can just go out and get another one whenever I want. I think he believes that. So he puts these catfish women before them. And because he's never had a real relationship, as I've said, that's a real relationship to him. So let's take it a step further. In your life, when you're breaking up with a long-term relationship, a real one, there's a lot of baggage. And let's pretend it's a backpack where one of the snaps, one of the buckles rubs against your body. You're going to carry that backpack, and it's a little heavy, and you're going to know it's there because that buckle, those snaps are going to rub against your back. You're going to know it's there. And if you don't take it off, it's going to make a sore, and it's going to stay there until you heal it. Lorne never, I hope that helps somebody, because I know somebody's going through that right now. Take that backpack off. Stop letting it bother you. It bothers me. Stop letting it bother you. I know that's easier said than done. But Lorne, he wears that backpack like a badge. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's rubbing his back and causing him all this pain. He's willing to accept it. But every time you go, your backpack fills up and it gets heavier and heavier and heavier. You have to stop and empty it every once in a while, or you're going to walk hunched over. You're going to be limping through life. Lorne can't take it off, so he carries that backpack into the next relationship. Imagine you're going on vacation a lot, and each time you go, you just take more, and you have all of those suitcases full of crap, duffel bags. Think of these relationships as vacations. You come home with more than you left with. At least most of us do. Some people know how not to. Maybe you could let me know how. But you just go on a vacation and you just take more bags. And the trip, it weighs your car down. You have to stuff it in the car. So if you get into a relationship, you're going to have to fit all of that into the newness, the happiness. Lorne is always saying what? He's always going back to, well, my past. You know, it's my past, and I got my past. He can't seem to let it go. After the Ramona saga, when he got absolutely scorched earth in that catfish, what did he do? He didn't stop, think about what happened, think about what he did, think about what was done to him. No, he didn't do that. He begged and pleaded for a woman who's telling him, I'm young. I want to go be with young guys. I wish she would have said, I want to get plowed by younger guys who are virile and they've got a lot of strength and they can go for hours. I can do that. Lorne, I want to get plowed. Okay, we can still be together. We're not broken up. We deserve a fair shot. Lorne Armstrong. So pathetic. Scorched earth, begging and pleading to get back with her. If a woman told me, I'm not even real, you're a pedophile, that would be it. I would be devastated, emotionally crushed. So I would take a step back and I'd just reflect. I probably wouldn't be able to go out and do anything. I'd be so ashamed. I'd be so angry. But not him, because he needs it. So after the Ramona saga, this is a guy who hated Emma, and Emma was like perverted justice, and Lorne totally fell for it. Now, because he hated Emma, I fully expected him to try to get with Emma. But Emma was his mom, so we know he didn't do that, even though he's probably banged his mom. Okay, that's too far. But Emma was his mom, that's why he didn't go for her. She was also the person she was the glue. As I said, my mom was kind of the glue towards the end for mine and my ex's relationship. She was the glue that held him and whatever woman he was abusing together. Winnie? You need to stop your bullshit. Going through that relationship, the Winnie relationship, look at the hell he went through, man. Satan himself came up And he looked at Lorne and he said, "My God, son, this is worse than what's down there." "Oh, yeah, well, ain't my fault. He created, that was a hell of his own making." He could have stepped back and he could have asked himself, how did this happen? How did I let that happen? How was I so gullible? But he can't, because he's ready to go on to the next catfish. Casey the sex addict. So he even got, when he got to the robot, come on, man. There's no way I could ever have a relationship with a robot. Although the person behind the keyboard is incredibly cunning and clever and found a way to do it. So maybe if I was in the worst spot in my life and I was in Wine Lover's accent, oh man, I'm hooked. I would be hearing the robot voice in that accent. I don't know what she looks like. I don't care what she looks like. That voice, so hot, man. I can't even do an impression of it. But to Cornville Three-Way, he's probably like, "Nah, mate, it's not hot to me," or whatever. Heard it a billion times. Moving on. So after Winnie, I would have cut it off. Finding out that Winnie was married. First time she said I shit in a tub, and he's gone. I'm out. There's a lot of stuff that comes with being catfished. The hurt, the shame, the feeling that you've been exposed, vulnerable, taken advantage of. He didn't feel any of that. He felt desperation. He felt entitled. I deserve a fair shot. The only reason he wanted a fair shot is because we know he didn't want to reflect on his life. He didn't want to take a step back and look at who he was. He didn't want to take a step back and figure out how he got there, how he never gets there again. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I've never been catfished in my life. There was a point in my life, had a beautiful woman sent me a picture, wanted to talk on the phone. Maybe I would have done it. Hell, when I was in Japan, I was quote unquote dating girls that I had been dating, home on leave or whatever, because we really clicked. But that was because we knew we had a short time together. See, that's a different thing. When you know you have a short time and it's hot and heavy and you just want to see if you can keep it going, because that initial momentum is so strong. But Lorne never had any momentum. There was never anything in his life, anytime he was on the phone, where I thought, my God, I could see that happening. I mean, he's talking to a woman who sounds like the Penguin. "Yeah, it's Winnie, Batman." The time I would have really been done was Casey, not the last Casey, because I think the last Casey was pretty genius in itself. A real woman. Lorne was up against, well, he was well beyond his comfort zone. He had met his match. Scorched earth, total Casey. Telling a woman you're not dating, but hanging out with her guy friend is inappropriate. Think of the nerve. Think of the gall. Think of what would happen if somebody was angry at you, if you said you were bisexual and you were hanging out with someone of the same sex. Lorne would still go crazy. Well, nope. If you're a woman, and we saw what happened with Jamie. You slept with big woman. I'd be like, high five. I will get down there as soon as possible. I would have been breaking probation and parole, going 175 miles an hour down there. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but Lorne should have been very excited at the prospect of a threesome. Not only would he finally lose his virginity, but it would be the story of the century. 2 women at the same time. But he's dumb. He's too stupid. He doesn't know how to separate sex from love. Lust from love. Lust, for me, is the most powerful emotion. It's different for other people. Money, greed for some people. But I think lust is my weakness. I would have thought when I was younger, vanity. But looking back, it really wasn't. I was a typical guy, worried about my hair and everything. Lorne has vanity, and I still can't figure out why. And it's all, lack of self-confidence, low self-esteem, maybe to overcompensate. But in these relationships, all of that stuff comes out, and it makes him feel terrible. You can tell it makes him feel terrible. He doesn't want to, but he has to keep going because he needs it. We've all talked about that. He absolutely needs it. But he keeps going from these catfish women. I don't know if there's an active one right now. And I'll be honest with you, I think there were rogue catfish women contacting Lorne. He just never mentioned it because these maybe didn't know what the hell they were doing. They didn't have a consortium. They could bounce ideas off of each other. But I think he wouldn't tell them because it might screw up the ones that were going. And if there wasn't any real chance, then again, if Lorne was with a catfish, suddenly he becomes aware of what other catfish women are doing. Although every single girl he's ever talked to while he's dating, as he says, one of these catfish, he wants to leave. He doesn't realize that's more baggage. That getting caught, man, that just, it blows everything out of the water. And if you've been cheated on, if you have kids, man, I'm telling you, kids are smart. They will know that you were cheated on. They will, even if you don't say it. And the respect level will go down. And when they get older, they're going to ask you, and they may think it's normal. But see, Lorne doesn't have kids. He doesn't have to worry about that. He doesn't feel like there should be any consequences. I'm not sorry about what happened because it really showed me how much I care about you. Lorne, you went to Dunkin' Donuts. You had condoms. You had talked a whole bunch of smack to this woman. You were ready to plow her, and what happened? Just like in Phone World, you got catfished. Right there. Realizing I was about to leave this woman I supposedly love to go out and have sex with another woman, to lose my virginity. I bet you when he was driving to Dunkin' Donuts, I know this is off topic, but fuck this guy. I bet when he was driving to Dunkin' Donuts, his stomach was in knots. He was ready to vomit. He was terrified. Am I going to be able to finally do it? Fuck. And I'm surprised he didn't yell at Ramona about you took away my one chance to finally get laid. Putting that baggage on himself, knowing that's going to go with him through the Ramona saga, that should have been enough right there to wake him up. I don't need to be talking to these women. I'm willing to let all of that go. Sorry, I just hit the shoulder. I'm willing to let all of that go for just the opportunity to finally dip my wick. I couldn't think of a way to say it. That was as gross as I was going to go. He should have known. Winnie with Rhoda, all of these women, he doesn't care. He will do anything. The thought of having Rhoda trapped in his trailer, this young, impressionable, potential sex slave, potential slave, it was too much for him. It was way too much for him. It overwhelmed him. If you're still having fantasies where all you want to do is have sex and bang, that's also baggage. Especially if you're trying to have a long-distance relationship. I told you I tried to. Girl's name was Chris. As soon as she left, she had another guy. I mean, we dated for like a couple months, and it was sexual, like crazy, rabbits, TMI, I know. But I didn't put it together that my feelings of lust, they don't hold relationships together. Lorne should have realized that lust doesn't hold relationships together. But he didn't, because he's never had a real relationship. So piling all of that baggage that I've been throwing out there, everything I've said is literal baggage with this guy, man. It may as well be physical, because I know it weighs on his shoulders. I know I'm having trouble doing anything because of last night, when he went psycho and went crazy and desperately needed Debbie to tell him, it's okay, Lorne, I appreciate the abuse. I don't regret it, Lorne, because it helped me. You know him. So after he was calling and leaving those psycho voicemails and being an absolute asshole, he wanted the instant gratification of apologizing and expecting her to say, okay, Lorne, no problem. One last personal story. Man, I was struggling. I told you I was struggling. The relationship was murdering me. There was a male friend, and he was trying to move in. This girl was younger than I was. She was in college. I had a great job, but it started to affect me. it started to make me feel terrible. And I knew that if I didn't cut it off, she was going to end it. We were engaged, for God's sake. We were engaged. And it just didn't work out. And I'm the one who cut it off because I saw what was coming. If I was him, I would rather cut it off than know that I'm driving. You have to know you're driving your mate, your spouse, fiance, boyfriend, girlfriend. You have to know you're driving them away. I mean, you could feel it. Maybe Lorne thought that meant the relationship was stronger because they were arguing, because they cared enough to... He was screaming and yelling. Casey was talking normal. We both need to calm down. Maybe he thinks that really is opening up and being a good partner to each other. I don't know. I just know that carrying that rage, carrying that anger, all of those feelings I mentioned into the next relationship is going to absolutely wreck you. You will not be able to recover in time to responsibly handle another relationship. That's a sign of maturity. And we know Lorne is not mature. It's a sign of maturity for you to realize, I shouldn't do this to somebody else. But he did it anyway. And I just hope one day Lorne just stops answering the phone, but we know he won't because I'm certain more calls are about to come out. If Emma, as I've said, plays Winnie and calls him back, he's in. If Debbie calls back, he's in. Because they're real. Even though he's been told they're catfish, because they're real. Tiffany could call and go, hi, I'm Tiffany. Oh, well, how'd you get involved with Emma? And then he would start his questioning rather than saying just, why are you calling me? Because once he gets all of his rage questions out of the way, okay, we're good. Casey could call him back. I'm not really Casey Morrow, Lorne. Well, you said you were a guy. I lied, Lorne. I was just trying to make you mad. Oh, okay. Rage questions, they're back together. One last thing. If he was smart, he would finally go out and try to find a real woman. Repent for his sins. Personally, come to terms with it. Remove that baggage, because that's the biggest thing he's carrying around. Knowing what he's done, knowing how difficult it is. And he won't go get a real woman because it's too difficult. And I think he knows. I think he doesn't want to put the work in to quit smoking, fix his teeth, get in shape, live a good life, get a job. I don't think he wants to do it. So he's going to answer the phone. So to whoever is catfishing him right now, probably sitting in bed with him watching a movie or something, somebody's catfishing him. Let's see how he does this time. Let's see how he handles this, because I think it will be the same as last time. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.
Why?